is adamant that the South Africa Post Office will recover. It is currently in business rescue and has received over 10 billion rands in bailouts since 2016 with very little return. Thousands of jobs are expected to be lost at the entity, but the exact number is not yet clear, still to be determined.
I think, for me, there needs to be a proper investigation of whether or not we still need that service.
Needs
I'm
analysis
kind
of
of,
some
yeah,
sort.
curious maybe if post offices around the world are still operating in the same way that they used to. We have the likes of Postnet, who seem to be very, efficient for most
Yes,
people at the moment,
yes. Mm,
other than the old sort of institution that the post office
mm,
was. Of
mm.
course, we know that there are a lot of people who are employed in that space as well.
Yes,
So the preservation of jobs is also
of
very
course.
important.
Mm,
But also, I think the investigation then of the service
mm,
is it the type of service that the current sort of generation still needs?
mm.
Remember, there's quite a lot of things that we have gone into emails now. The letter that you used to write then as a letter, you
Exactly.
can actually send an email.
Mm,
There's movement towards sort of internet
mm,
as it were. So
mm,
I really
mm.
don't know the movement of goods. You've got
You're
some
curious.
companies
Yeah.
gone into that space,
Mm,
and they've
mm,
also quite revolutionized the space as well,
mm.
where you can actually send your stuff. I can take this phone, go to a courier company, and it's done much faster, much more
Exactly.
efficiently, and there's insurance that comes with that. I don't know who we're trying to
Retain.
yeah, in
Mm,
that particular space. So for
mm.
me, otherwise it will be an SOE that just gets revived. They're gonna put money in there for what?
For what? Yeah.
So
What
there's quite a lot for me
the
that needs.
10 billion that they're talking about, what has it, you know,
What is it going to
what
do?
is it going to, or what has it done up
Yeah,
until
yeah,
this far, you know?
yeah. No, it's really. I don't know. My view really,
Mm.
Spokie, is that there needs to be further sort of feasibilities around the
Yes.
idea
No,
of the post
definitely.
office.
No, definitely.
Because we've seen it deteriorate and not being
Mm.
there for quite and I think it goes for most of the things
Mm.
that the government has let deteriorate, and now to push those things back up again,
Mm.
it needs money, but also it needs a different sort of thinking,
Yes.
different strategy. How are we going to move forward with
Yeah.
this and
Yeah.
make sure that now it's much more efficient.
Yes.
It speaks to the current
Mm.
environment,
Mm.
and
No,
all
precisely.
of these things.
Mm.
Otherwise we're just gonna put money for no reason.
Okay. All right. And then the electricity minister, Khoisenso Ramokgopa, concluded his 2-day site visit to the Eastern Cape during the course of the past week. He engaged with business owners to identify possible areas of partnership to drive innovation and sustainable solutions to minimize the impact of rolling blackouts. Ramokgopa says these business engagements are important to provide assurances that government is indeed dealing with the crisis. He says collaborations are needed to resolve the rolling blackouts.
It's true.
Mm,
There, I know
mm,
that also. The part of the most problematic things
yes.
we're facing as far as business is of course, the fact that
Mm,
I think the big one was when these things started happening so often,
mm,
the rollouts, the blackouts was,
yes.
you remember one year,
Mm.
Shoprite had to spend about 500 million just on
Yes. Yes.
generators,
Yes.
and
When
there are
it
many other
started.
business that have gone into that space
Mm,
to
mm,
actually create a cushion for
of
themselves,
course.
and so you need to affirm them and assure them that look,
Mm,
there will be improvements, or how do we then move forward.
mm,
The part of the, for instance, households now,
yes.
if you have financials enough that you can actually buy yourself a solar system and all of that, that's what you would go to.
Mm,
But we also know that there are levies that you will still be paying.
Exactly.
The availability, they call it the availability levy or something like that, that municipalities would still want to charge you on, even ESCOM, because they say we've got the mechanism to actually supply you this.
Yeah.
So for you to get out of the grid, then we need to charge you for the availability, because it's not because of the unavailability of the system. So it's quite strange, yeah. But those are some of the things
Yeah.
that I think it's probably was important for them to, you know. I wish I was there. I want to find out what kind of discussions
Me
will
too,
happen
hey?
in that space. You know.
Yeah.
It's really something that we must find out. You know.
Okay, so as you remember, there was a bus accident that took place during the course of the Easter
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
So the sole survivor of the Limpopo bus crash was discharged this week. So the 8-year-old girl survived the um, okay. The 8-year-old girl survived when the bus was traveling from Botswana, plunged off a bridge, killing 45 people. Meanwhile, the number of identifiable bodies from the Limpopo bus crash has been revised down from 9 to 8. And the Botswana government did arrange a nationwide memorial service for the deceased on a Thursday. I
Already
think,
arranged a nationwide.
yeah.
So have the bodies
No,
been
like nationwide as in for them.
for them? Yeah.
Yes,
Have the
yes.
bodies been repatriated already?
They're saying they've narrowed it to 8, so with the assumption that they've been
Oh, okay.
identified, so there's only 8 that are still outstanding that still need to be identified for them to be repatriated back to Botswana.
Okay.
So yes, and then yeah, there's a lot that happened. Okay. Okay. In your story now, Forte. So, 15 suspects in the Forte University killings were back in court on Wednesday to apply for bail. They appeared for the first time on Tuesday in the Dimbaza Magistrates Court. They are facing charges of fraud, corruption, kidnapping, murder, and attempted murder. The 15 were arrested in various provinces over the Easter weekend, bringing to 25 the total number of people facing charges related to the university.
Firstly, I think the Dimbaza name has never been called so
I
much.
know, hey?
You know,
Like, I was like, is it not supposed to be Zwelicha or,
no, I
or
mean,
something?
I think also even Dimbaza, a lot of people ask, where's Dimbaza? You know, particularly on a national scale, I'm sure a lot of people
Is.
are. That Dimbaza court, I'm sure it's never been so busy.
I
You know,
know.
it's, yeah.
I even forgot that there's a magistrate's court
I
there.
also, I mean, but yeah,
Like,
the Dimbaza,
it's not a laughing issue,
wow.
but like really.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, is there no court in Alice? Why they were brought to Dimbaza?
No, because I think there is one in Alice, isn't it?
It should be. I mean,
Or is it now moved to
I
to
don't know. I
Dimbaza?
thought that they would be in Alice, but yeah, Dimbaza has
Wasn't
been
there like
very
a move
hectic.
of magistrates courts at some point?
I'm not
Okay,
sure.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. But I think also, I mean, the sad thing about it is how, you know, a black institution
Yes.
which benefits mostly the people from disadvantaged communities, a historical institution
Yes.
that these people have turned into
A gangster's paradise
yeah,
of
you
some
know,
sort.
I mean, it's unacceptable. Some of the crimes that are being done there, I mean, it's 15 people now. I think there's
Yeah.
gonna be more arrests. It's also not
So it's 25 in total currently.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if you look at the amount of money, I mean, 171 million.
Imagine.
I mean, that's a lot of money
It
to
is.
take away
From an
this,
institution of education.
that is not like your you know, UCTs and you know,
Yes.
UPs. Those are
It's not UPE,
institutions
Galo.
themselves.
NMMU.
No, UPE, and the one my son is in is
Oh, University of Pretoria. Oh, dialogue UPE, not
Yeah.
UP.
UP. I mean,
Is
Galo,
that
it's-
UPE?
I mean, it's UPE.
Okay, UP.
Yeah.
Okay, UP.
Okay.
Yeah,
so-
Pretoria University.
University of Pretoria, whatever. but I mean, spoke no, yeah. So if you look at that, I mean, it's really sad when you look at it from that perspective that um and that people are actually doing this in that institution, and it's
Yes.
a graduation season as well,
Mm.
which
Mm.
I think, I mean, there must be a lot of chaos that's happening there, because most of the staff that would
Mm.
have, maybe some of them, be sitting through those processes are hung up in court.
Mm.
And I can imagine, man, for the guys who are working there currently,
Imagine
who are honest,
the
and
environment,
yeah,
the
the
working
environment,
environment. How is it
it
now?
must be toxic. It
Ah.
must be really very strange, and
Mm.
yeah, it's really tough.
Okay, as we round up the news before we go to the international ones, so Nivaudeville in the Northern Cape has the best air quality in South Africa,
Yeah.
and the city with the worst is Benoni in Gauteng. That's according to the 2023 World Air Quality Report. South Africa ranks number 47 out of 134 countries in that report. The report also shows that air quality in South Africa has improved with an almost 15% drop in pollution. So something we're doing right.
And it's so nice, Spokie, to hear, because
Mm.
I mean, I hate these reports. Every time these reports come out,
The
we
negative.
are the worst. I mean,
Yes, we are.
we are the
Well,
worst at
always.
everything.
Mm.
So this is a positive report that
Mm.
we've, where there's, you know, international kind of
Yes.
survey or
Mm.
whatever it is. I
Mm.
mean, because
Mm.
most of the states, we always come out the worst.
Yeah.
Equality, we are the worst. And you ask
Yes.
yourself, I mean,
Citizens and
how?
doing it right.
I mean, in the equality space, how are we the worst? I mean, you kind of think to yourself, where, who's there? Who have they looked into
Yes,
to
especially in
actually,
our continent,
yeah,
you know,
you know?
and
So
also other countries in
there are
Europe,
other
South
countries, even,
America,
yeah,
in,
you know, but
whatever, like
yeah,
Asia and so forth. But
we're
anyway,
always the
I
worst
think
in these things.
Ingati, they're like always picking on us.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so Mkondo is a party leader. Versivan Reddy is due in court on
Yeah,
Wednesday.
I saw that, and I think it's actually proper,
Yeah.
because I mean the guy, what he said a lot. I didn't like what he was saying, and it was horrible for him to
I mean,
actually,
come on.
and yeah, spoke. I mean, you look at it and you think this guy is just going to come out there and say all of these things, because you are really, what
Mm.
you are doing is that
Mm.
you are saying Magioliwa, you know,
Was so
you are
inciting
saying, yeah,
violence.
you are saying that,
Mm.
and we know how vulnerable KZN is. I mean, KZN is
It
always,
is.
it's like sitting at the edge of a
Mm.
cliff, and
Just
and
waiting for
it,
just that one rock
yeah,
to
you know,
displace and then
and
everything
then
falls
everything.
apart.
So I think, I mean,
Mm.
for me, that's my prayer this
Yes,
time around, is that in the elections that is coming, KZN must really find some stability,
they
because
have to.
there's a lot that's
Mm.
happening there with Oduma, who is really a reckless leader for the
Mm.
ANC,
Mm.
and a lot can happen there.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Okay, wait for this one. Texas Association Santaco is introducing a new system to enable commuters to book online for long distance traveling. Suhleka kaloku, oh,
It's good.
wait.
Yeah.
I know. So the new online booking should be launched by the end of the year. So simpler. Okay. Currently, there is a simpler model that is being used in KZN and Gauteng. Which is the use of cards where they load, and then you can skip the queue and hop on your taxi. But the spokesperson was saying that they're looking for for more innovative ways, to make the this process or the system, more efficient and more effective. Because they're also taking some pointers from the public, just to say what would work best, and in terms of aligning with the new technologies. So yeah, it's quite interesting, as
I
much
think it's
as
interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And
really a good thing.
ndisafunqonda mniphi la plane. Moving right along, moving further afield, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was sworn in on Tuesday for his third term as the leader of the Arab world's most populous nation. In power for the past decade, the 69-year-old former army chief is now set to remain the head of state until 2030. And then, and then another African leader, Basiu Diomaye Faye, hope I'm pronouncing it right, I'm not French, a left-wing Pan-Africanist, was also sworn in on Tuesday as Senegal's youngest president after sweeping to a first-round victory on a pledge of radical reform. 10 days after he was released from prison, the 44-year-old has never before held an elected office, but several African leaders attended the ceremony in the new town of Diam Niadio, which is near the capital, Dakar. You know, there's former French colonial towns. Okay, so today Rwanda begins the commemoration on a somber note for the 30th anniversary of the 1994 genocide, a mass slaughter orchestrated by Hutu extremists against the Tutsi minority over 100 bloody days. More than 800,000 men, women, and children, mainly ethnic Tutsis, but also moderate Hutus, were killed in the murderous onslaught that saw families and friends turn against each other in one of the darkest episodes of the late 20th century. 3 decades on, the tiny landlocked nation has rebuilt under the iron-fisted rule of President Paul Kagame, but the traumatic legacy of the genocide lingers, reverberating across the region. Yeah, that was, I think, in Africa, I think in our time. Yeah. And then, so Zimbabwe has declared drought a national disaster on Wednesday, with President Emerson Mnangagwa saying that the country needs $2 billion in aid to help millions of people who are going hungry. So the severe dry spell induced by El Nino weather pattern is wreaking havoc across southern Africa. Due to poor rains, more than 2.7 million people will not have enough food to put on their table this year.
And also, did you hear, Ingati, they're actually changing now. They have a new currency or
I
new
can't
sort
keep
of
up.
Mali. So people have been asked to bring in
All
the
their
old.
Zim dollars.
Yeah. So I think there's
Indon
something
because
there.
Indon
I'm
Harare
not sure,
doll.
man.
What is
Yeah,
it?
I don't know. I would need to find out. But I know
Okay.
that there's been
All
an
right.
introduction there of a new sort of.
Okay.
I don't
And
know whether it's printed money they're still going to use, but the old Zim dollars, they're going to do away with them completely. So
my
I'm not sure.
goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like us getting rid of the dollar when things are okay. And then just the last one, American, Israeli, and Hamas negotiators are expected were expected in Cairo over the weekend in a renewed push for a ceasefire and hostage release deal in a war that reaches the half-year mark today. Ahead of the talks, Hamas confirmed its core demands: a complete ceasefire in Gaza and withdrawal of Israeli forces. The ceasefire attempt comes after Israel's military made a rare admission of wrongdoing. Wow. And said it was firing 2 officers over the killing of 7 aid workers in Gaza, where humanitarians say famine is imminent.
I know. I mean, that was actually a new development, the thing there with Gaza, and I hope that it's going to be tackled properly in the coming weeks. With the UN and them, and I know that the US also, in particular, is also not impressed. They actually want out in terms of the current situation now.
Yes.
Because I mean, Israel is getting exposed every day now in terms of the atrocities that they are doing up there. But I hope some sort of solid decision making is going to come out very soon
Mm.
with regards from the U.S. position
Yes.
in terms of what they want to see and so forth.
Mm. Okay. And then today would have been a birthday, Gamamu Charlotte Maxeke, who died on the 16th of October 1939. Yes. And yesterday, how can we forget? It was Chopper, you cheaper against Kaiser Chiefs.
No, I didn't forget because I mean Kaiser Chiefs is really terrible. They got chowed 2-0. It's
Yes.
because I think for me, yeah, as no longer a fan,
A former.
a former fan, but not following any sort of local clubs at the moment, even
Mm.
internationally. So I watch just because my son likes or is a fan of ME Landuga in Manchester City.
Mm.
So I watch it from time to time, but it's not something that I'm big on at
Mm.
the moment. Kaiser Chiefs. I mean, what are these guys thinking? I don't know. The turnaround of for Kaiser Chiefs probably need a whole nation or all the fans of the Kaiser Chiefs
Mm.
to actually pray. Make Kaiser Chiefs a prayer item every day. you know,
One,
it's really.
my niece went to watch as well.
Uh,
And yeah, so actually, when I was driving from the airport to drop off the hard car yesterday, I think it was early evening,
yeah.
around about, I think, closer to 6 o'clock. I saw, I think it was a chartered bus,
Mm,
obviously,
mm,
with that was being escorted towards the airport. Yeah, so I was like,
yeah.
yeah.
No, no, second half.
Second
I'm
half.
not.
Oh,
Yeah, I
but let's
can't
take
be.
a phone over Nix.
No,
Oh, and there was
second
also
half.
like two earthquakes this week in
Yeah,
Taiwan.
Taiwan. I
And then
saw the
also New
Taiwan
York
one.
experienced also, I think, some, like a mini earthquake, but it
Yeah.
wasn't so major.
Did you see the Taiwan the
Hey, that
buildings?
building,
I mean,
the new Leaning Tower of Pisa.
yeah, there's a couple of buildings that were,
Yes. Mm,
tilted.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, we pray for the people of that nation to
Sure.
actually get
And
well from
apparently,
this.
they were saying that it can offset a tsunami as well.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do if if you're based in that town and everything is there. What do you just up and leave? I mean,
You imagine.
because also, I mean, if you are working, people want you to report at work. What happens? How do you stay
How
in that type of an environment?
No, I think with work they will have to understand if safety comes first.
So what
And
do you stay at home? If because a tilted building is not telling when this thing is. It's like
no, you
you're
move.
waiting for that
No,
day.
I think it's when government needs to make alternative living arrangements. It's either
Yes,
you
you move
yeah,
out of the building, let's
yes.
suppose, but do you go to work? What happens? I mean,
Look, once you are settled to wherever you move to, then you can think about going. Oh, you can work from home.
yeah, work from
Work from
home,
home.
most probably.
Yes. Oh no, work
Yeah,
from home.
but if your home
Definitely.
is the one that's like that,
I kaloku, listen, I am so stressed.
and if
I
the
won't be
building,
able to come to work
if the work
until
is
further
like that, wow,
notice.
yeah.
I kaloku, when there's such natural disasters, I think there has to be an SOS
No, it's
policy that
true.
kicks in.
It's true when I spoke, but I
Mm,
think um, we I don't know how they do it in the other
mm,
countries, but
mm.
also in our country, I mean, we had a very tough one in KZN. The
Yes.
insurances that people have, they're
Mm,
insured for their homes and all of
mm,
that.
mm,
But what do you do when you on the work front, basically?
mm,
How do you then ensure the period that you won't be working because of the environment that you
mm,
are now natural disasters and all of that? I mean, if you
mm.
look at back in the issue of Katrina in the US,
Yes,
when you have
yes.
such a high scale of
Natural disaster.
yeah, and
No,
what
but
happens to your
unfortunately, ne, remember there's always first time for everything.
mm,
Like I always say, you must not not necessarily you must understand the employer, but
yeah,
now but they get caught up in a quagmire. Go to now work is gonna stop, and then we're gonna be behind. Dun, dun, dun. So it's one of those trial and error situations
yeah,
whereby, obviously, I think in my mind there has to be a policy somewhere in each and every organization that speaks to natural disasters. In the event that there's a natural disaster, what are the um,
mm.
you know,
How
was
do you then ensure you as an individual,
yes, yes,
your
exactly.
current sort
Like
of
your
salary?
employees, how do you manage those
Mm.
situations?
I mean, I think, I mean, an insurance for your salary in case that happens,
Mm, mm,
how do you, an insurance that will allow you to earn money,
yes.
you'll be paying for that to earn
Mm,
money for
mm,
in the event of a natural disaster,
yes.
something like the UIF, but
Mm,
make it an insured so you can
mm,
insure your own sort of. I don't
yes.
know, man. I feel that it's something,
It's something that needs to be looked
particularly in
into.
those countries
Mm,
where that are prone to
yes.
such.
What policies do they have in place in
Mm,
terms of
yeah, if
um,
something like that were to
yes, they're
happen,
like
even if in the
mm,
government they were to have, because I mean clearly the UIF is not enough to
of
be able to
course.
cover that kind of a setup.
Yes, yes.
Even though we know what the UIF, I mean, there's some lot of good work now
Mm,
that they are actually, because it's no longer just the Department of Labor, but the UIF saying that they're going to put out about, I think, about 15 billion
mm.
towards employment creation.
Yes, I saw
So
that in the
yeah,
week. Yeah.
so it's a beautiful scheme, but there needs to be a scheme where
Your salary is insured.
yeah, your
Mm,
salary is insured, because
mm,
now the salary is only insured in case something happens to you,
mm.
an accident or whatever.
Yes.
Those are the only
Mm.
incidences, and
Like major disaster, like,
yeah,
injuries,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So if
mm,
you are in a car accident and you happen, and then there's a way of them paying for that
mm,
whole setup, but they also, you may find out that that
mm,
money gets paid towards your health,
mm.
not
Yes.
necessarily towards your
Yeah.
loss of
No.
income.
Mm,
So
mm.
I think it's something that
Yeah,
would be
those need
interesting
to
to find
be
out from the
visited.
insurance companies if they
Yes.
ever think of
Mm,
actually putting up something like that.
mm. But also like, like your employer
Yeah,
also,
yeah,
what
yeah,
do they have in place in the event that, because obviously we don't really have those major
yeah,
disasters.
yeah, yeah.
We will have the ones that we say that disasters,
Mm,
like your floods
mm,
and
mm. Like the
fire
KZN, I
and
mean, you can imagine in
yes.
KZN there was a lot of people
But they did
maybe.
say it's a state of emergency, didn't they?
Yeah,
Mm,
remember the disaster fund
mm,
is usually mainly used to actually repair
yeah.
the environment and be
Mm,
able to take care of the people. But I
yes.
mean, you still want your own money to
Of
be able to
course.
actually,
Mm, yes. I get what you're saying. Mm,
not only just insure
mm,
the household doors, and we know that
mm,
most of the people who get affected who are staying in the shacks and all. I mean, that
mm.
we are going to see that now in
Mm.
winter in Cape Town. That is going to be happening in Cape
It's
Town.
annual. We know for
Yeah,
a fact that's
yeah.
going to happen.
So,
Yeah.
so I mean, on a
Mm.
small scale, I think companies should think of
Mm.
actually people who are staying in those environments,
Mm.
that they can actually have monthly sort of
Mm.
premiums
Yes.
towards
That
that
in
those
like
type of,
particularly,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And your take on the PDD saga?
PD, uh, look, I had Michael J. White speaking about
Mm.
PDD and how he's observed him. He was saying, look, he's known PDD for a while,
Mm.
and his take on what's happening.
Mm.
And I think it's really true, because part of what he was saying is that he had seen PDD, and that around him
Mm.
he's always had yes men
Entourage.
type
Mm.
of
Mm.
people who are not
Yes.
going to call him out
Into
on,
order.
yeah.
Yes.
And I think that that is the result of what really is
Mm.
happening now. And it was the same with R. Kelly, if you remember. There was a
Mm.
big sort of discussion around the fact that R. Kelly
Yes.
is in that position as a
Mm.
result of,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
So it's kind of tough when you
Yes.
have that kind of money, and have then people around you who are not just going to say, Pauline,
Mm.
what you're doing or what you are saying is not
Mm.
correct,
Yes. And
and
now it's overspilling to, oh, apparently R. Kelly also did give out a statement.
I heard, I mean, R.
And I
Kelly,
was
oh,
like,
please, please.
I would, if I were him, I would
Mm,
stay away, because I'm also like, as R. Kelly, you're also being, in prison for
for the
So,
same sort
yeah,
of, yeah.
similar. And now his son has been accused of sexually assaulting a woman
Yeah,
as well.
so I mean that also, I mean, speaks to the type of
Mm,
family environment that
yes.
he has
Mm,
created, you know, and
mm.
which is sad,
No,
really.
it is.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Mm.
Guys, the time is 5:55 and we didn't have a lot of music today, but we are
No, we
coming to the end of
didn't.
the show, and we will be playing you a song out next. The show coming next is Born to Lead, and
Mm.
that's the show that's following after this one. So it was great hearing from you and the guys who have actually put
Yes.
up questions in
Mm.
the interview that we had. Spoke your
Mm.
last words.
Yes, thank you very much for our listeners, today. And we apologize for not, going through and reading all their questions. There's time that is allocated when it's their commissioned, slot. However, thank you very much for interacting with us. And yes, it's been great. And thank you, Puti, for coming in this wet, rainy weather.
Look, I think let
But
me put it this way. Yeah, I'm getting there when I spoke.
no, you're good now. Like I
Yeah,
can see like
my
a huge
strength.
improvement. Now
Yeah,
your strength has come back.
yeah. It's really
Yes.
I'm getting there.
Mm,
So
mm.
yeah. But thanks for
No.
holding the fort
Of
on your side. I mean,
course.
you've been yeah. She's watching my six this one all the time, and I'm grateful for that.
No, it's a
Yeah.
pleasure, Buddy. Anytime. Thank you to everyone. I hope you have a great Sunday further and do have a blessed week ahead.
Yes. Guys, have a now weekend, beautiful evening out there, and stay real, stay strong, and stay lovely. Born to Lead is next. We are now leaving this place. We'll speak to you again next week, guys. Leaving you with just a small song, which of course is our Kauga Msinyane because Umfundisi Sega Corner, but I know that you'll also enjoy this one.